Hey everyone, I'm trying to pick up where we left off, and I believe in the last video I was discussing how the Lord had taken me to this, death and hell. He had brought my attention to this, which took me to Revelation 6, the scripture where we read about the seals, and how the Lord had used this, sorrows, the word sorrows, to take me to Matthew 24, where Christ was speaking to his disciples, and he laid out a description of what it would be like as his return neared. And as we see in Matthew 24, when he was describing this to his disciples, we see that Christ, the things he spoke of, fits with the first four seals, as I just explained in the previous videos. Now, the importance of that is so we can see the timing in which Psalm 18 fits in these last days. And only God could have done this, because how else could I have even been taken to Revelation 6 and read about the first four seals, and then from this been taken to Matthew 24, where Christ is speaking and his description of the last days, so to speak, fits in with what this took me to in Revelations. Only God could put this together like this. But what I want to point out now is where we see this, the sorrows of death, the sorrows of hell, compassing, surrounding, is at, like I said, this is the fourth seal. Death is the fourth seal. And it says, the sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. Now, it's important to note right here that this is used to describe the amount, it's like the quantity of ungodly men. It's a flood, it's a mass, it's a multitude, it's a rushing multitude of ungodly men that create fear during this time, okay? And then we see the sorrows of hell surrounded me about. The sorrows of hell surrounded me about. The snares, which are traps of death, the death traps, the traps of death prevented me. And prevented means, and I looked it up, and right here it is. Prevent, go before, to come before, precede. Okay, if you look at it in the perspective of go before or come before, we see that the writer here, David, he is surrounded, okay? He's surrounded, and the snares of death, the traps of death, go before him. It means they're everywhere. In my distress I called unto the Lord and cried unto my God. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even unto his ears. Now here's another important part I want us to take note of. We know that this took us to Revelation 6 and the first four seals. We know that this took us to Matthew 24, where Christ describes the end days, okay? And these match. What Christ describes matches the first four seals. All right, then we get here where it says, then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken because of his wrath, which is anger, okay? But here we're seeing earth shaking, and the foundations of the hills moved and were shaken. And if you look at Revelation 6, I think it's 12 and 13. Let me turn there. Let me turn there so we can get a better look at that. We're going to see a parallel here, okay? Excuse me. I'm about to drop my notebook. All right here is where we're going to see a parallel. And see, we're still in Revelation 6. And we have come over here to where it says, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal. This is the sixth seal. And lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Okay, here we see earthquake, earth shaking. But we've got that going on here. And if we come on down into verse 14, we see the comparison where it says, every mountain and island were moved out of their place. And that would be a parallel to what we see in Psalm 18, where it speaks of right here, where the hills, the foundations of the hills moved and were shaken. And I'm going to stop this right here, that we've got several more parallels to point out, but I wanted you to see that what we looked at with death and hell and the seals is not the only parallel with Psalm 18. And as I continue to go and describe what the Lord has shown me here, I think you'll get a better understanding of what I'm getting at. And please, I apologize if I'm not making things clear. But anyway, I'll be back with the next video, and I'm going to pick up where we're leaving off here on verse 7. Thank you.